One day, Mian arrived at the gate of the Grand Sue family villa. She looked up at the head butler and asked, "Is this Su Lincheng's house?" The butler heard her and replied, "It is. But little one, you can't use our master's name like that. You should call him Grandpa Sue." Mian shook her head. "I can't call him Grandpa. It would mess up the family tree. I'm his paternal aunt." Hearing this, the butler's smile vanished and he prepared to shoo Mian away. Just then, a little boy walked over and gave Mian a hard shove. "Here, you little beggar!" Mian turned to see a lavishly dressed woman walking up behind the boy. "Be more careful," the woman said to the butler, handing him an invitation. "Don't let just anyone wander in." The woman's name was Lin Mei, the older sister of the eldest Sue brother's girlfriend. After confirming her identity, the butler let them in. Before going through the gate, the little boy stuck his tongue out at Mian. In response, Mian let out a little "a woof" and bit him. The boy howled in pain. Seeing this, the woman raised her hand to slap Mian. Suddenly, a deep voice cut in. "What do you think you're doing in front of my house?" It was the seventh and youngest of the Sue brothers, Su Chenfei. The butler quickly greeted him. "Young Master 7, you're back." Su Chenfei's eyes landed on the tiny girl who was less than 3 feet tall. "Who's this kid?" Mian immediately toddled forward. "Hello, my grandnephew." Su Chenfei froze. He leaned in closer to Mian. "What did you just call me?" "Grandnephew, I'm your grand aunt," Mian said, pulling out a family registry book and a jade pendant from her little bag. "See, this is my proof." Su Chenfei recognized the pendant instantly. It was identical to the one his father kept in his safe. He scooped Mian up and walked straight into the house. The party guests saw this and immediately started whispering, guessing she was his secret daughter and even mocking him to his face. Su Chenfei could ignore it, but Mian couldn't stand it for a second. With a flick of her wrist, she sent a talisman flying, slapping it right onto the forehead of the man who was talking the loudest. The man tripped and knocked out his front teeth. Mian giggled to herself. "This villain talisman really works. Grandnephew, your grandaunt helped you punish those bad guys who talk nonsense." Su Chenfei didn't really believe she had such powers, but he liked what she said. The two of them went to old Master Sue's study. The old man immediately started lecturing his foolish son. Su Chenfei couldn't be bothered to argue and just gently placed Mian on the desk. Old Master Sue looked at the adorable little girl and couldn't help but praise her. Just as expected of a Sue family child. So cute and pretty. "Good girl, I'm your grandpa. Call me grandpa and I'll give you a present." Mian waved her little hands. No, you're not my grandpa." "Hello, my dear nephew. I'm your auntie Mian." Hearing this, old Master Sue raised his foot to give Su Chenfei a swift kick. "Look what you've taught this child." Su Chenfei cried out, "I'm innocent. She has a jade pendant just like yours and says she's your aunt." Only then did it click for old Master Sue. He took the pendant from Mian's hand. As he looked at it, his eyes widened. This pendant belonged to my little grand-uncle. Could this little girl be telling the truth? Still, he found it hard to believe his 73-year-old grand-uncle would have a 3-year-old daughter. He opened the letter that came with her. The letter explained that Mian's entire family had fallen into a deep slumber and that Mian didn't know. It pleaded with the Sue family to protect her and help her accumulate belief and good karma, which would be the only way to awaken everyone. Old Master Sue glanced at Mian, his heart aching with sympathy. He decided he would take good care of his little aunt. He then bowed respectfully. "Auntie Mian, your nephew pays his respects." Mian pulled a strand from a 1,000-year-old ginseng root out of her little bunny backpack and gave it to her nephew as a birthday and meeting gift. Old Master Sue was deeply moved as he accepted it. Suddenly, Mian noticed something was wrong with his prayer beads. "That bracelet is full of resentful energy. Your insomnia is because you've been wearing this thing." Hearing this, old Master Sue immediately took off the bracelet and handed it to Mian. He then looked at Su Chenfei, who was standing there like a wooden post, and kicked him sharply. "What are you waiting for? Kneel and pay your respects to your grand aunt." Su Chenfei was forced to his knees. "Greetings, grand aunt. Your junior Su Chenfei pays his respects." Mian was so happy that she gave her grandnephew a tiny ginseng strand as well. Old Master Sue noticed his little aunt was a bit dirty, and quickly arranged for someone to take her for a bath. Suddenly, Mian's nose tickled, and she let out a big sneeze. The maids were instantly worried. but Mian Mian just waved it off. It's okay. It just means someone is talking bad about Mian Mian. Auntie, your niece-in-law pays her respects, said old Mistress Sue, appearing at the door. Mian Mian generously gave her a jade bracelet. The old woman was stunned. Mian Mian thought she didn't like it and was about to offer a different one. I love it, old Mistress Sue said quickly. It's just, you're so adorable, I was captivated. She then carried Mian Mian off to change her clothes. The moment they stepped into the walk-in closet, Mian Mian's eyes lit up. She eagerly changed into a cute princess dress and looked at her niece-in-law. Do I look pretty? My little aunt has wonderful taste. That dress is beautiful, old Mistress Sue praised. The banquet was about to begin. Old Mistress Sue pointed to a man in a black suit. That's your eldest grandnephew, Su Chenjing. He's loved money since he was a boy, so he manages the family business. Mian Mian looked at him and noticed his weary expression. Something was off. She then asked who the two women beside him were. They are the Lin sisters, Lin Ru and Lin Mei. I don't know why, but our eldest suddenly wants to marry that Lin Ru. I don't like her at all. When old Master Su saw that Auntie Mian Mian had arrived, he declared the start of the banquet. But first he had some big news. Lin Ru mistakenly thought he was about to announce her engagement to Su Chenjing and was thrilled. To her surprise, old Master Su started talking about Mian Mian. Lin Mei couldn't stand it and rushed out to interrupt him with no tact at all. Old Master Su said, "This is a Su family affair. We don't need outsiders sticking their noses in it." Realizing her mistake, she gave an awkward laugh. "Hello, uncle. The girl you're holding, isn't that Su Chenfei's illegitimate daughter?" Hearing this, old Master Su was furious. "This is my aunt, Sumian Mian. She's Chenfei's grand aunt." The two green tea sisters stared in disbelief as old Master Su had them thrown out. Lin Ru desperately clung to Su Chenjing, begging him to intervene. Su Chenjing nodded. "Dad, it's your birthday banquet. Let it go for today." Mian Mian walked closer to get a better look at her eldest grandnephew's face. Just as she thought something was wrong, his line of fate was messed up. Mian Mian activated her third eye, and sure enough, the thread of destiny connecting him to Lin Ru was black. Normally, the threads tied by the god of marriage are red. Mian Mian decided she had to help her grandnephew. She took out a miniature peachwood sword, and with a flick of her little hand, sliced the black thread. Instantly, Su Chenjing felt a weight lift from his shoulders. His infatuation with Lin Ru now seemed completely absurd. Mian Mian handed Su Chenjing a ginseng strand. He took it, confused. With the family introductions over, old Master Su had Mian Mian sit at the main table and announce the start of the feast. But after a long wait, no one touched their chopsticks. They all just stared at her. Mian Mian finally realized that as the person with the highest seniority, she had to start eating first. Mimicking the old men in her village, Mian Mian said, "Go on, everyone! Eat up! Eat up!" Everyone was charmed by her cute demeanor and finally began to eat. Meanwhile, a dejected Lin Ru asked, "Chenjing, why didn't your parents mention our engagement?" Su Chenjing was silent for a moment before saying, "About the engagement. I need to think it over." Hearing this, Lin Ru felt a sense of dread. She looked down at the red bracelet on her wrist and thought, "Su Chenjing, you're forcing my hand." A minute later, the lights in the banquet hall suddenly dimmed. Su Chenjing walked onto the stage with Lin Ru. "Esteemed guests," he announced, "I have something important to say." Old Master Su frowned. "What is my eldest son doing?" But Mian Mian saw something different. Su Chenjing was possessed by a ghost. Without a second thought, she charged forward. "Grandnephew, Grandaunt is here to save you!" Just as Lin Ru thought her scheme had succeeded, Mian Mian grabbed the black ghostly thread. The smile on Lin Ru's face froze. Did this little brat see through my plan? She reached out to stop Mian Mian, but her hand was caught by Su Chenfei. "Lin Ru, you dare try to push our grandaunt? You're asking for it." Lin Ru played dumb. "What are you talking about? I was just trying to lead her over here." Su Chenfei called her bluff. "Should we check the security cameras?" In that split second, Mian Mian had already yanked the mischievous ghost out and had it squeezed tightly in her hand. Su Chenjing snapped back to his senses and glared at Lin Ru. "Lin Ru, you've gone too far! Someone get her out of here!" Knowing her plan had failed, Lin Ru fainted on the spot. Mian Mian, however, was completely fascinated. She poked at the ghost in her hand. "Why did you go inside my grandnephew's body?" The ghost, terrified, immediately confessed that Lin Ru had ordered it to. After hearing this, Mian Mian was about to let it go, but Su Chenjing said, "Don't let it escape. Lock it up." So Mian Mian rolled the ghost into a little ball, stuck a talisman on it, and stuffed it into her little bag. After the banquet, Mian Mian announced that she had completed the task her father gave her and was ready to go back. Hearing this, old Master Sue's face fell. The letter had explicitly said not to let his little aunt go back. Old Master Sue cleared his throat. "Little aunt, didn't you promise to catch ghosts for your 2 grandnephews?" As he spoke, he shot meaningful looks at his wife and sons. Everyone got the message and chimed in. "That's right. If you go back, we'll all be too scared to come home." Mian Mian's spirits instantly lifted. She pulled out her miniature compass and started running around the house. But after checking several rooms, the compass needle didn't move an inch. The little girl was so tired she was about to fall over and sleep. Old Mistress Sue quickly caught her and placed her in bed. As the Sue family fretted over her adorable sleeping face, they heard Mian Mian suddenly cry out in a tiny voice, "Daddy, Mommy, wake up!" They were startled and rushed to her bedside, only to see the little toddler frowning with her eyes squeezed shut. She was clearly dreaming. In her dream, Mian Mian was back on the mountain, where she found her parents in a deep, unbreakable sleep. She was on the verge of tears. Suddenly, she remembered her mother once told her to ask the family's sacred pillar for help if she was ever in trouble. Mian Mian immediately ran outside, tripping on a rock and scraping her knee in her haste. Ignoring the pain, she hugged the sacred pillar and prayed. A dazzling light shot out, and a young couple appeared before her. Mian Mian rushed over. "Daddy, Mommy, why are you spirits now?" The couple's eyes filled with sorrow. "Mian Mian, this is just a temporary measure. If you use the skills you've learned to do good deeds and fill this bottle, Mommy and Daddy can come back." Mian Mian took the bottle and promised she would fill it up. As her parents' spirits faded away, Mian Mian cried out and woke from her dream. The entire Sue family surrounded her. "Little aunt, are you okay?" Mian Mian pulled an adorable little turtle out of her bag. The turtle crawled over to Su Chenfei's feet. Mian Mian looked at him and asked if he needed help with anything. Su Chenfei nodded dumbly. "I've signed up for a kids' reality show, and I was hoping Grand Aunt would join me." The moment he said it, old Master Sue's mustache quivered with anger. But Mian Mian's eyes lit up. Mian Mian wants to go. A week later, the reality show began its live broadcast. The camera quietly pushed open the door to Su Chenfei's room. The room was a sea of girly pink. On the bed, one big person and one small person were still sound asleep. The live stream comments exploded. "Su Chenfei is still sleeping in, what a loser!" Seeing that, old Mistress Sue walked in. "Number 7, wake up, the show has started." Su Chenfei was sleeping like a log. Mian Mian, however, slowly opened her eyes. "Good morning, niece-in-law," she said sweetly. After being reminded they were filming, Mian Mian quickly scrambled out of bed and gave a sweet wave to the camera. "Hello, everyone! I'm Sumian Mian." Seeing old Mistress Sue about to wake Su Chenfei, Mian Mian stopped her. "Niece-in-law, wait. A ghost scared my 7th grandnephew last night. Let him sleep a little longer. But the live stream has already started. We can't delay." Mian Mian nodded. "Then we should wake 7th grandnephew up." As soon as she finished speaking, old Mistress Sue gave her son a firm smack on the butt. Su Chenfei yelped and shot up. "Mom, what was that for?" When he saw the camera, his face instantly transformed into a greasy, charming smile. "Good morning, my darlings." In the live stream, a soft 7th grandnephew immediately cut through Su Chenfei's cheesy pose. He bent down and gently ruffled Mian Mian's hair. "Good morning, my little grand-aunt," Mian Mian reminded him in her tiny voice. "Time to brush your teeth and wash your face, 7th grandnephew." Su Chenfei hoisted Mian Mian onto his shoulders with a grin. "Let's go, we're flying to the bathroom." In the bathroom, Su Chenfei expertly squeezed toothpaste onto Mian Mian's toothbrush. Mimicking an old granny, Mian Mian praised him. "Such a good boy." After they finished, Su Chenfei pulled out some children's face cream for Mian Mian. Suddenly, a booming voice shattered the peaceful moment. "Number 7, what do you think you're doing?" Old Master Sue, wearing cloth shoes, stormed into the shot and aimed a kick at Su Chenfei. He then looked at Mian Mian with a pitiful expression. "Little aunt, didn't we agree you'd use the face cream I bought for you on Mondays?" Mian Mian obediently picked up the other bottle and carefully applied another layer of cream. Only then did the old man leave, satisfied. By the time the two got downstairs, the comments were on fire. "So cute, I want to steal her." During the show's interview segment, A staff member asked Mian Mian, "Little one, what's your relationship with Su Chenfei?" Mian Mian leaned into the camera and said earnestly, "I'm his grand aunt and he's my 7th grandnephew." This bizarre seniority baffled the entire internet. When asked about her parents, Mian Mian's eyes reddened, as she explained that her parents were asleep, and that once she completed her mission, they would be able to talk again. At the end of the interview, Mian Mian suddenly turned to the staff member urgently. "Mister, call your son right now. Tell him not to walk any further." When she learned the man's son didn't have a phone, she told him to call the boy's mother. Shortly after the call connected, the sound of a car crash came through the phone. Thanks to her warning, the mother and son were saved from the accident. It turned out that 3 days earlier, this staff member had saved a little student who ran a red light. Mian Mian said it was the good karma he deserved. This fortune-telling episode sent the live stream's popularity soaring to the top of the charts. The director wanted to build the show around her fortune-telling, but Mian Mian seriously refused. "Mommy said you can only tell fortunes for those you're fated to meet. You can't just do it for anyone." Just then, Mian Mian pulled her little bottle out of her bag. A tiny drop of water had appeared inside. Seeing this, Mian Mian's face lit up. It seemed her good deed had earned her some merit. Thinking of this, she took out 3 coins and tossed them on the ground. She looked at their positions and said, "Mian Mian can tell 3 fortunes for fated people within 7 days. I only have 2 left for today, and it costs $888. The staff member immediately asked, "How do you choose the fated people?" Mian Mian tilted her head. "The other mister who's been telling you what to do." She pointed at the director and gave the camera a little wink. In the control room, the director chuckled and signaled for the staff to randomly select 2 fans from the live stream. Mian Mian pressed a button, and 2 IDs appeared on the screen. "Meow, meow, meow," and "Su Chenfei, get out of showbiz." Mian Mian stared at the second ID. "Why do they want my 7th grandnephew to get out?" Su Chenfei just looked helpless. He never expected to draw one of his own anti-fans. Just then, Meow 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 connected to the stream. She said her cat had been missing for a month and asked where she could find it. Mian Mian did a quick calculation with her fingers. "It's in the 3rd house to the left of yours." At first, the neighbor denied it, but when she suggested calling the police, the cat was quickly returned. Next, the second fated person connected. "I want to know how my little brother is doing," she said, a cunning glint in her eye. In reality, she didn't have a brother. She was just trying to cause trouble. But Mian Mian answered precisely. "Your brother isn't happy. You saw him yesterday. He's the clerk at the milk tea shop. When you were 6 years old, your brother was kidnapped." The girl was completely thrown. She immediately called her mother. "Mom, I have to ask you something. Do I have a brother?" Her mother was silent for a moment. Yuan, how did you know? Did you suddenly remember?" Half an hour later, they moved to the next location. Before leaving, the little ancestor gave everyone in the house a protective talisman. Su Chenfei puffed out his chest and promised he would take good care of his grandaunt. But no one paid him any attention. They were all crowded around Mian Mian, dabbing their eyes and saying their goodbyes. Mian Mian just smiled and waved her little hand. Soon the group arrived at the airport. Su Chenfei saw the actor Qin Tao and went over to greet him. After a brief chat, the red bracelet on Qin Tao's wrist caught Mian Mian's eye. That evil aura is the same as the one from Lin Ru's bracelet. While she was lost in thought, Qin Tao reached out to tease Mian Mian. "Is this your daughter?" he asked, clearly trying to stir up the illegitimate daughter rumor. Su Chenfei quickly grabbed his hand. "This is my grand aunt, my actual grand aunt." Qin Tao scratched his head awkwardly. "Oh, a grand aunt. I never would have guessed." He then pulled a little boy forward. "Grand aunt, this is my little brother, Ahao. We got you a present." Mian Mian accepted the gift and thanked him politely, then pulled a small item out of her pocket as a return gift. Viewers saw the difference in gifts, and the comments exploded. "Isn't the Sue family the richest in the country? Their return gift is just a piece of scrap wood?" Qin Tao was secretly pleased, thinking he had finally one-upped Su Chenfei. He never imagined he'd be proven wrong in the next second. Mian Mian pressed a spot on the wooden figure's arm, and the scrap wood instantly transformed into a little bird and flew into the air. Tao's jaw dropped. Mian Mian shook her head and continued, "It can also turn into a fish and many other things." The live stream went wild. "Whoa, isn't that mechanism art? I bet the people who called it scrap wood feel pretty stupid now." Meanwhile, Su Chenfei, seeing the two little ones playing so happily, got jealous. He pulled on Mian's sleeve and whined, "Grandaunt, your grandnephew wants to play too." Mian generously handed him the bird. The second Su Chenfei got the toy, his face broke into a goofy grin. Mian put her hands on her hips. "You lied." Su Chenfei waved his hands frantically. "Grandaunt, if I don't have a toy, I'll really cry." The nearby Ahau mercilessly exposed him. Grown-ups are always trying to trick kids out of their toys. Mian immediately went into lecture mode. "Grandnephew, lying isn't what good kids do." Su Chenfei quickly bowed his head and admitted his mistake. The sight of a famous actor being managed by a little toddler was so adorable it shot to the top of the trending charts. In a corner, Qintao was grinding his teeth in frustration, already plotting how to use his little ghost to suck away all of Su Chenfei's good luck and ruin his career. The famous actress Liu Hui arrived with her daughter Yu. Qintao was the first to greet them, a fawning look in his eyes. Su Chenfei, however, stayed where he was, preoccupied with his little wooden toy. Mian scolded him for his rudeness in her tiny voice, then walked up to Liu Hui by herself. "Hello, my name is Mian." Her soft, sweet voice was like candy. She offered 2 strings of jade beads as a meeting gift, hoping Liu Hui would forgive her grandnephew's impoliteness. Liu Hui was in disbelief. "You said Su Chenfei is your grandnephew?" Qintao seized the opportunity to get some screen time. "This is Ah Fei's little grand-aunt. By the way, our Ahau also prepared a gift for little sister Yu. But Yu just hid behind her mother like a frightened deer." Liu Hui quickly explained, "My daughter is very shy. I was hoping she could make some friends here." Just then, Mian started talking to Yu, and surprisingly, Yu didn't seem to reject her. Yu's timid eyes were fixated on Mian's blue butterfly hairpin. At the same time, some viewers who had done their research recognized it. A similar piece was in a museum, said to have been made by an ancient emperor for his most beloved daughter. Yu had only breathed the word pretty, but Mian immediately offered it to her without hesitation. Liu Hui, knowing how valuable the item was, didn't dare accept it. But Mian insisted that her family had warehouses full of these things, and besides, she really liked Yu. Liu Hui had no choice but to thank Mian on Yu's behalf, promising to return the favor with a gift when they visited their home. Mian then took out a pair of pink butterfly hairpins. As expected, no little girl could resist the allure of pink. Yu's eyes were glued to them. Liu Hui gently reminded her daughter, "We can't be greedy." But Mian had a great idea. She separated the butterflies so they could each have one of each color. Mian couldn't wait for her and her new friend to wear matching clips and asked Su Chenfei to help her put hers in. His long, steady fingers carefully clipped the hairpin into her hair. The fluttering butterfly made the little girl look even more charming and cute. Soon it was time to board. Su Chenfei took Mian's hand to walk ahead, but she suddenly pulled away and ran to Yu like a happy little rabbit. "Grandnephew, you're a grown-up. You can walk by yourself. Mian is going with Yu." Su Chenfei watched their 2 small figures and sighed with a wry smile. "My little grand-aunt has already abandoned me." After boarding, Mian and Yu were still stuck together like glue. Su Chenfei, excited about his first flight with his grand-aunt, couldn't resist taking pictures to show off to his family. Just then, Liu Hui came over and asked him to move so she could sit next to the children and look after them. Su Chenfei was clearly reluctant. "Hey, I've had special training. I can take care of kids too." Liu Hui gave an awkward smile. "My daughter is afraid of you. I just want to sit next to my little grand-aunt." As he spoke, Su Chenfei plopped down and claimed the seat. Mian couldn't stand it anymore and tried to persuade him. "Grandnephew, be good and sit over there." Su Chenfei looked at her in disbelief. "My little grand-aunt doesn't want me anymore?" Oh, pitiful tears started streaming down his face. Mian was dumbfounded. How can my 7th grandnephew cry more than a little kid? Helpless, she had to put in a good word for him, and only then did Yu agree to let him sit with them. Liu Hui was very surprised that Yu was getting along so well with Mian. She glanced at Su Chenfei and thought to herself, "He seems like a pretty nice guy. Why did our relationship suddenly get so strained?" When Su Chenfei was just starting out, he and Liu Hui were in the same film crew. He was serious and eager to learn back then. After filming wrapped, a rumor spread that he had hit a starlet. Liu Hui kindly advised him to be mindful of his image. But to her surprise, Su Chenfei had flown into a rage for no reason. As they were at a standoff, Qintao had conveniently appeared to smooth things over. Looking back, Liu Hui realized Qintao's timing was just too perfect. Something felt off about the whole thing. Now that Qintao was on this show, she couldn't help but worry he would cause more trouble. Suddenly, Liu Hui was stunned by the scene in front of her. Su Chenfei had a fatherly smile on his face, with the two little toddlers nestled sweetly on his lap. The picture was incredibly heartwarming. The gentleness Su Chenfei showed in that moment was enough to turn any hater into a fan. Meanwhile, Qintao was getting impatient. He was certain his little ghost would suck Su Chenfei's good luck and give it to him. An hour later, everyone got off the plane and boarded the bus provided by the production crew. A child's crying soon filled the air as a woman in a pink dress led a little boy onto the bus. The woman coaxed him gently. "Zizi, be good. Look, there are so many other kids on the bus. We can all play together. Won't that be nice?" The little boy followed her gaze and immediately spotted the adorable Mian Mian. He shouted excitedly, "I want to play with her!" In a flash, the boy darted over to Mian Mian and pointed at the butterfly hairpin in her hair. Mian Mian thought he liked her hairpin and was about to take it off to show him. But the boy suddenly reached out and yanked it out, pulling a few of Mian Mian's hairs with it. Tears welled up in Mian Mian's eyes from the pain. "Why did you pull my little butterfly?" she said, her voice trembling. The little boy just made a face at her defiantly. "I just did! What are you gonna do, hit me?" Seeing this, Su Chenfei moved like lightning. He grabbed the little boy by his collar, lifting him up like a little chick. "Apologize to my grand aunt," he snarled. "We're all adults here, it's normal for kids to squabble. They should resolve it themselves, don't you think?" Her words sounded reasonable, but they were a subtle jab at Su Chenfei for being petty. But when Su Chenfei saw his grand aunt's tear-streaked face, the anger inside him flared. "No, he has to apologize." Qintao, seeing a chance to play the good guy, stepped in and urged Su Chenfei to let the boy go. Out of respect for his friend, Su Chenfei reluctantly put Wang Zhe down and turned to comfort his sobbing grandaunt. "It's okay, grandaunt. Your grandnephew will make that bad kid apologize." Mian Mian touched her sore scalp, a worried look on her face. "Grandnephew, is Mian Mian going to go bald?" Su Chenfei couldn't help but chuckle. No, we'll just eat some black sesame seeds to help it grow back." A moment later, Mian Mian wiped her tears and walked over to Wang Zhe, telling him in her small voice to apologize. His response was a sneer. "I'm not apologizing to an ugly weirdo." Mian Mian's patience ran out. She warned him that if he didn't apologize, she'd have to take matters into her own hands. True to form, the bratty kid had a bratty parent. Xu Weiwei immediately went into protective mode. "I'll apologize for him. I'll pay you. What's the big deal?" Su Chenfei was about to explode and wanted to punch her, but Mian Mian, with a presence far bigger than her size, stopped him. "Grandnephew, let me handle this." Mian Mian looked at Xu Weiwei with a fierce little glare. "It's no use for you to apologize for Wang Zi's mistake. He's still in the wrong." Xu Weiwei was left speechless, her face turning red. In a fit of frustration, she yelled at Wang Zhe, "Apologize right now, or else she's going to hit you back." But Wang Zhe completely ignored his mother. Fed up, Xu Weiwei gave up. She told Mian Mian to go ahead and do what she needed to do. Since she had the parents' permission, Mian Mian didn't plan on holding back. She suddenly reached out, grabbed a fistful of Wang Zhe's hair, and pulled. Hard. Wang Zhe never expected Mian Mian to actually do it. He was stunned with pain. Mian Mian calmly gathered her own fallen hairs and held them out next to Wang Zhe's. "See, Zizi, it's the same amount. We're even now." It took a moment for Wang Zhe to process what had happened. Then he let out a massive wail. The sound echoed through the bus, so loud it almost deafened Mian Mian. She frowned and warned, "If you keep crying, I'll hit you." That only made Wang Zhe cry louder. "I'll cry if I want to," he sobbed. Mian Mian wasn't about to put up with it. She started cracking her knuckles. Wang Zhe was wailing like a broken siren. Mian Mian, however, silently went through a set of military-style warm-up punches. Then she stood on her tiptoes, leaned close to his ear, and let out a mighty lion's roar. Good grief, that shout nearly blew Wang Zhe's eardrums out. Still, Wang Zhe wouldn't give up. He started playing the victim. "You're bullying me! Wah!" Their standoff lasted for 1 minute and 8 seconds, before Wang Zhe finally admitted defeat. "How could you do that to me?" he whimpered. Mian Mian proudly tilted her chin up. "You're allowed to cry, so why can't I shout?" Lost in the joy of her victory, Mianmin suddenly realized that 108 pairs of eyes on the bus were staring at them. She politely bowed. I'm sorry for being so loud. Liu Hui was the first to stand up. You're the grand aunt, teaching a junior a lesson. We don't mind, right, Yu? Yu looked at Mian Mian and nodded. Mian Mian's unique character had once again captured Yu's heart. Qin Tao chimed in with a sarcastic tone. Well, it was noisy, but at least Zizi stopped crying. The clueless Su Chenfei also laughed. My grand aunt is the best. Mian Mian, ever so thoughtful, made sure to check on everyone. What about the director and the crew? The directors looked at each other and replied in unison, It's no problem, grand aunt. Next, Mian Mian wanted to make peace with Wang Ze, the butterfly hairpin. If you want to look at it, I'll let you. But Wang Ze, who had just been crying his eyes out, was now shy in front of the cute and gentle Mian Mian. He mumbled, I don't like butterflies, and scurried back to his mother's arms. Chu Weiwei couldn't believe their conflict had been resolved so easily. Just then, the final group of non-celebrity guests arrived, an older brother, Chu Qi, and a younger brother, Chu Ye. The two brothers seemed to carry a heavy atmosphere with them, and the bus instantly fell silent. The director spoke up. Let's go. The rule was 1 adult per child. Yu, not wanting to be separated from Mian Mian, pulled on her hand to sit with her. Mian Mian gently explained, We can't. The director just said 1 adult per child. We can play together when we get off the bus. Though a little disappointed, Yu obediently nodded. Seeing how well-behaved she was, Mian Mian couldn't resist planting a little mwah on her soft cheek. Su Chenfei saw this and looked as if he'd been struck by lightning. What? My grand aunt has never even kissed me? Su Chenfei, with his handsome face, begged for a kiss, but was heartlessly rejected by Mian Mian. When pouting didn't work, he switched to full-on crying mode. Feeling sorry for his pathetic display, Mian Mian had no choice but to give him a quick peck. Su Chenfei then childishly winked at the camera, showing off that he'd gotten a kiss from his grandaunt. Meanwhile, the old Mr. and Mrs. Sue, who were watching the live stream, were so jealous their shoulders were trembling. Soon the group arrived near the filming location. The bus couldn't go any further, so their first task was to walk the rest of the way. A staff member handed them a map, gave a few brief instructions, and then sped off on a small tricycle. Su Chenfei stood there stunned for a moment. This production crew is so sneaky, just leaving us here. Qin Tao looked smugly confident. What's there to be afraid of? Just follow the map. But the map looked like it was drawn by a kindergartner, leaving the brilliant Su Chenfei completely baffled. He noticed Mian Mian and Yu, however, were studying it with great interest, discussing it seriously. Qin Tao scoffed, dismissing Mian Mian's input entirely. Su Chenfei immediately jumped to his grandaunt's defense. We're listening to my grandaunt. We follow her. Qin Tao disagreed and decided to follow the direction the crew's tricycle went. In the end, they split into 2 groups. Xu Weiwei and Zizi went with Qin Tao, while Liu Hui naturally followed Mian Mian. As for the Chu brothers, the older one asked the younger one's opinion, and the younger brother walked straight over to Mian Mian's side. With the team set, Su Chenfei waved his hand dramatically. Let's go. A wicked smile crossed Qin Tao's lips. With the help of his little ghost's power, he was sure Su Chenfei's group would get hopelessly lost. Mian Mian's group headed in the opposite direction. Suddenly, Yu pointed at something as if she'd discovered a new continent. Mian Mian, look! It was an old man selling little chicks. The 2 girls eagerly ran over and squatted down, their eyes glued to the fluffy yellow creatures. The chicks seemed drawn to Mian Mian, flocking towards her. One even hopped right into her hand. Yu asked with longing eyes, Can I pet it? Yup, go ahead. The moment was captured on camera, and viewers went wild. These babies are too cute. The old man, seeing how much the girls liked the chicks, offered to give them 2. Liu Hui quickly declined. We can't just take them, sir, and we might not be able to take good care of them while filming. Hearing her mother, Yu reluctantly put the chick down. Mian Mian saw her disappointment and promised Liu Hui she would take good care of them. With that assurance, Yu happily held the 2 chicks in her hands. As a thank you, Mian Mian gave the old man a family heirloom medicinal pill, emphasizing that it could save a life. The old man chuckled and accepted it, thinking what a funny little girl, calling a piece of candy a life-saving pill. But now there was a problem. They had nowhere to put the chicks. Just then, Chu Ye walked over with 2 small paper baskets and handed them to the girls. Mian Mian gave him a sweet smile. Thank you, big brother. You're so nice. At her praise, Chuya's face flushed bright red. Su Chenfei saw this, and alarm bells went off in his head. Oh no, oh no, am I about to get a granduncle? Seeing Chuya being so attentive to his grandaunt, Su Chenfei was furious, wanting to swallow the little brat whole. But Chuya paid him no mind. Mian Mian led the way, weaving through the small village. Suddenly, she shouted, "It's just ahead!" The live stream viewers exploded with doubt, but they were quickly proven wrong. Mian Mian led everyone to a small countryside villa. She walked up and knocked lightly on the door. A middle-aged man and his son answered. "My name is Li Gao. My son drew the map. I'm surprised you could read it." He then warmly invited them to get on a small truck parked in front. Su Chenfei easily lifted Mian Mian and Yu Yu onto the truck. Liu Hui was left struggling to climb up. Seeing this, Su Chenfei offered her a hand. "I'll pull you up." With his help, Liu Hui got onto the truck. The mountain road was bumpy, but the two little girls found it fun. Mian Mian even thought it was more exciting than riding a flying sword. Along the way, the driver happened upon Qintao's group. Xu Weiwei's eyes lit up when she saw the truck, and she pleaded for a ride. But the driver refused, citing the show's rules. Su Chenfei could only silently cheer for his friend. The truck drove on, leaving Xu Weiwei and her group staring in the dust. Qintao was so angry he started to suspect his bracelet wasn't working. The live stream cut back to the truck. Perhaps tired from walking, the two little girls had fallen asleep. Worried his grandaunt would get cold, Su Chenfei instinctively took off his jacket and gently wrapped it around her. He then asked Liu Hui to pass Yu Yu over. Seeing her hesitate, he quickly explained, "I'm just worried my grandaunt's best friend will catch a cold. Don't overthink it." Liu Hui chuckled. "Thank you." And so the two adorable girls slept, leaning against each other. An hour later, the truck reached its destination. Seeing it was getting late, the director sent Li Gao to pick up Qintao and Xu Weiwei. Su Chenfei's group had arrived just in time. The director had just finished preparing dinner. Looking at his sleeping grandaunt, Su Chenfei woke her up with just a small spoonful of rice. Yu Yu was woken up too. By the time everyone finished eating, it was already dark. Xu Weiwei's group had missed dinner. Back in his room, Qintao sat on his bed, muttering to his bracelet, little ghost, come out." This bizarre behavior terrified his little brother, Ahao, who was playing with the wooden toy. When the bracelet didn't respond, Qintao's face grew darker. He wanted to beat up the old man who sold it to him. Finally, he noticed the trembling Ahao. He snatched the wooden toy from him and threatened, "You want to play with this? Fine, but you have to do something for me tomorrow. Otherwise, I'm throwing this toy away." Early the next morning, Mian Mian was up before the village chickens, all because her rumbling tummy woke her from a hazy sleep. She glanced at Su Chenfei, who was still drooling next to her, and knew she couldn't count on him. So Mian Mian switched to self-reliance mode and started preparing her own powdered milk. Everything was ready except for hot water. Mian Mian toddled over to the production crew, holding her bottle. Mister, can you help Mian Mian make her milk?" The little fluff ball in front of him instantly melted the young assistant's heart. He was about to nod when the director cut in. "Little grandaunt, no milk today." Mian Mian's big eyes were full of confusion. "Why not?" The director patiently explained, "Today, all the guests have to find their own food." Mian Mian looked at the bottle in her hand with a sad expression, then handed it to the director. "You drink it for Mian Mian," she instructed seriously. "We can't waste it." The director was stunned. What kind of angel baby is this? No crying, no tantrums, and she already understands not to be wasteful. The director waved his hand, saying he was an adult, and politely declined. Mian Mian thought for a moment, then whispered, "Then, can Mian Mian drink it secretly? It'll be our little secret. Mian Mian is just worried about wasting it, not about breaking the rules." Just as she finished, her stomach decided to join the conversation with a loud rumble. Mian Mian looked up at the director with pitiful eyes. Listen. Mian Mian's tummy also says we can't waste it." This combination attack almost swayed the director. Thankfully, he managed to resist and painfully declined the adorable little girl. Mian Mian had no choice but to remind the director not to waste it. The director quickly nodded, promising to give the milk to one of the village children. Mian Mian patted her growling stomach and walked back to her room. Su Chenfei was still fast asleep, and poor Mian Mian felt like she was about to starve. "Grandnephew, wake up, wake up." Su Chenfei opened his eyes to see the cutest little thing imaginable. He excitedly shot up, ready to plant a kiss on her cheek, but Mian Mian raised a little hand to cover his mouth. "Stinky," she said in a tiny, fierce voice. "Go brush your teeth." A short while later, they were washed up and heading to the meeting point. They ran into Qintao right outside. Su Chenfei greeted him warmly. "Brother Tao, good morning." Qintao, with huge dark circles under his eyes, replied, "Morning." Su Chenfei was taken aback. "Brother Tao, you didn't sleep well?" Qintao, not yet realizing he was suffering from his own ghost's backlash, claimed he had slept soundly. He bent down, intending to pinch Mian Mian's chubby little cheeks. But Mian Mian, disliking the ghost raising Qintao, instinctively dodged him. The clueless Qintao, seeing this, decided to try and copy Su Chenfei by acting cute with Mian Mian to win over some fans. He cooed, "Little grandaunt, do you not like me?" The moment he opened his mouth, his voice came out as raspy as a duck's. Qintao instantly realized his little ghost was acting up. Normally, even after a night of smoking and drinking, his voice was deep and magnetic. He feigned a hurt expression, coughed a few times, and used the excuse that he caught a cold walking in the dark last night. Just then, his brother Ahao also sneezed. Qintao seized the opportunity. "Little grandaunt, my brother has a cold too. I'm going to get some medicine from the crew." Su Chenfei looked worried and urged him to hurry. In contrast, Su Chenfei's own voice was clear and pleasant. Qintao was practically exploding with anger, mentally cursing Su Chenfei for showing off. Mian Mian watched them leave, a troubled look on her face. Qintao deserved his punishment, but Ahao was innocent and shouldn't have to suffer. Su Chenfei noticed her concern and asked what was wrong. Mian Mian glanced at the camera and shook her head with a smile. "It's nothing, grandnephew. Let's go to the meeting point." She knew she couldn't talk about this openly. Later, Director Hu gathered everyone to announce the day's rules. Breakfast would be earned by drawing a task card, and the order of drawing would be determined by a game of rock, paper, scissors between the adults. Su Chenfei's heart sank. He was notoriously unlucky in the entertainment industry. As he worried, his eyes fell on Mian Mian. "My little grandaunt is a master of the mystic arts," he thought. Drawing a card should be a piece of cake for her. His worries vanished, and he excitedly scooped her up. "Let's go win this thing." As fate would have it, he got the very last pick. The smile on Su Chenfei's face instantly disappeared. Mian Mian patted his cheek to comfort him. "It's just a game. Don't be discouraged." Su Chenfei was filled with guilt, worried his grandaunt would have to suffer because of him. But Mian Mian just smiled. "Your luck is very good." In a flash, the card drawing was over. Shu Weiwei's task was to help Grandma Wang feed her chickens. Qintao's was to play with a boy named Liang and make him laugh. Tuki had to help Uncle Jiang pick watermelons. Lukai had to help Auntie Yang plant corn. And Su Chenfei's card read, "Help Grandpa Zhao's sow give birth." Su Chenfei was devastated. Mian Mian curiously asked, "What task is making my grandnephew so sad?" Su Chenfei's fighting spirit returned in an instant. "We have to help a mommy pig have her babies," he said, making sure to add, "Little grandaunt, you just need to watch later." At that moment, anti-fans in the comments were having a field day. Isn't Sumian Mian a fortune teller? How could she not predict she'd be delivering piglets? Su Chenfei and Mian Mian took their task card and asked the villagers for directions. Grandpa Zhao's wife warmly showed them the way. Just then, Mian Mian's stomach growled. The old woman smiled and gave her a steamed bun. Mian Mian happily bowed in thanks. Seeing this, Qintao also pulled Ahao over to ask for food. But the old woman said gruffly, "This is all I have for the whole day. There's no extra," and quickly took the buns back inside. Qintao was so angry he could have ground his teeth to dust. He glared at Su Chenfei. "This is all your fault! I won't let you off the hook for this!" Unable to get any food, a furious Qintao harshly told his little brother to hurry up. The boy was so scared he burst into tears. Qintao pretended to comfort him, crouching down while secretly pinching his arm and hissing, "Stop crying!" The boy could only nod through his sobs. The two brothers then arrived at Liang's house, where Li Gao warmly invited them to have breakfast. Qintao saw the plain congee and pickled vegetables on the table and looked disgusted. Just then he heard a noise outside. Peeking out, he saw Mian Mian carrying a large table as if she were a circus performer. Su Chenfei praised her from the side. "My little grandaunt is a little strong woman." Mian Mian blinked proudly. Mian is very strong. Su Chenfei played along. My little grand aunt is the strongest in all the heavens and on earth. Qintao was dumbfounded. He refused to believe a 3-year-old girl could have such strength, and was convinced the show and the Su family were cheating, that the table was made of foam. To expose them, he rushed over, claiming the table was crooked and he needed to straighten it. But he used all his strength and the table didn't budge an inch. He almost threw out his back in the process. Su Chenfei, however, moved the table with ease. Qintao was internally screaming, "Damn it, I just made him look good." After calming down, he quickly made an excuse. "I pulled my back a few days ago. That's why I couldn't move it." Su Chenfei gave an awkward but polite smile. "Well, it's a good thing your task is just playing with a kid." With that, he amicably saw Qintao off. Just then, Grandma Zhao brought out their breakfast, a fragrant chicken noodle soup that made both the big and small guests drool. Grandma Zhao told them to eat up to have energy for helping the sow later. Mian excitedly raised her hand. "Okay, Mian wants to see the baby pigs." The grand aunt and nephew duo slurped down their noodles, exclaiming how delicious it was. Over at Qintao's table, he was mentally complaining about how bad the congee was, while pretending he didn't care. After breakfast, Grandma Zhao led Mian and Su Chenfei to the pig pen. The first task was to move the sow to a clean farrowing pen. Grandpa Zhao suggested using an apple to lure her. Su Chenfei volunteered, holding out the apple. "Come on, Mommy Pig, let's go to a clean place." Mian was suddenly thoughtful. "Mommy had a big belly too when she was having me. It must have been so hard." Grandma Zhao smiled lovingly. Mian knows how to feel for her mommy now. Hearing this, Su Chenfei's heart tightened. He was worried the topic of her mother would make his little grand aunt sad. Su Chenfei wanted to announce to the world that no one was allowed to mention his grandaunt's parents. But Mian just smiled shyly. Mian loves Mommy, and she loves Daddy too. Daddy worked so hard to take care of Mommy. I wasn't a good baby. I cried all the time and kept them from sleeping. It's a good thing Mian is a big girl now. I have to work hard so Daddy and Mommy can wake up." Su Chenfei's heart ached hearing this. He thought to himself how much his little grandaunt had grown up. Grandma and Grandpa Zhao, hearing this, guessed the parents might have passed away and quickly changed the subject. "Good girl, Mian. Come help the mommy pig have her babies, okay?" Mian nodded obediently, then suddenly gasped, "Your hand, grandnephew. The mommy pig is going to eat it." Su Chenfei turned to see the sow munching on the apple in his hand. He backed away step by step, luring the pig out. Mian cheered for her from the side. The sow seemed to feel her encouragement, grunting softly and even rubbing against her affectionately. Soon, the sow was led into the clean farrowing pen and lay down on the dry straw to give birth. Worried Mian might get hurt, Grandma Zhao tried to move her aside. But Mian insisted on staying by the sow's side to cheer her on. After all, this was her task. If she didn't complete it, she wouldn't get to eat. Seeing her determination, Grandma Zhao didn't stop her. Mian started giving directions in her tiny voice. "Go on, Big Pinky, the first baby is coming out, push!" As if she understood, the sow began to breathe rhythmically and smoothly delivered her first piglet. Under Grandpa Zhao's careful guidance, Su Chenfei cut the umbilical cord and then gently wiped the piglet with a towel. The sight of the pampered young master doing such dirty work silenced the anti-fans who accused him of being a diva, while his fans flooded the comments with support. Just then, Qintao appeared. "How's the delivery going? Need any help?" Su Chenfei greeted him warmly. "Brother Tao, you finished your task already?" Qintao found a good camera angle and put on a fake smile. "My task was easy. I was more worried about you guys, so I came to check." Su Chenfei happily held up the newborn piglet, saying everything was going smoothly and they didn't need help. Qintao felt a pang of annoyance and made a pointed remark. "Chenfei, you're pretty skilled at this. Where did you learn?" His words instantly energized the anti-fans, who started speculating that the director had given him a script in advance to help clean up his image. Suddenly, the sow, who had been giving birth quietly, stood up and let out a terrified squeal at Qintao. Mian rushed over to calm her down. Once the sow had settled a bit, Qintao reached out, wanting to show off his down-to-earth side. But the sow reacted as if she'd seen a ghost, scrambling away and hiding behind Mian, groaning in pain. Qintao was stunned, mentally cursing the animal. "It's fine when they touch her, but she runs from me." This sudden event had frightened the sow, causing her to have a difficult birth. Everyone panicked. The piglet is stuck. The mommy pig is in danger.